I'm Boston 2%, author of Fire and Ice, the Meth Bible, and I'm chatting with Staxx.
Welcome to this episode of Chatting with Staxx. I'm your host, Bill Staxx, and today I got Boston 2%.
And I think that's part of why I surrendered at the McDonald's that day. I just kind of knew reality in my subconscious, and I gave up and I couldn't go on any further. I was a shell of a human being. I was a broken person, spiritually, mentally, sexually, emotionally, in every way you could be broken. I was just a sack of meat with a heartbeat at that point, possessed by the devil. You can see it in my mugshot. One of my eyes almost got poked out by another trap house girlfriend a couple weeks before. That's why my eye is like, I can't believe I didn't lose one of these baby blues, Bill. It would have been devastating.
Wow.
But so I'm now I'm like healed, and I'm like, oh my God, I'm in a lot of trouble. So 8.5 months in, I end up going to trial. I remember I was walking through the tunnel, right? The night before, I call Martin Scorsese. I call him. Jail phone. I'm like, we're going to court tomorrow. It's like 4:00 in the afternoon. I'm like, we're going to court tomorrow. It's at like 8:00 in the morning. I got the early show, right? So we're like, I'm getting ready for court. I'm like, what are we looking at, man? Probation? I'm like, it's my first felony arrest ever. And he goes, I'm sorry, Mr. Durkin. He's like, they're asking 15 years TDC. And I'm like, ah!
Now, does your lawyer, when you finally talk to him and you're healed,
yeah,
is he like, holy?
Yeah, like he knows now. He knows that I'm healed, but we're about to go to trial. Like we met a couple times in between the healing, and it was super scary. Bill, no deal. First felony, nobody got hurt. I didn't even look at the cash register. They never came and approached me to like, we'll give you 5. Nothing. There was no offer ever on the table. I was in shock. I'm like, oh, so I went back to my cell and I screamed into that little white towel they give you to shower with. And I remember I was like, I'm not going to see my kids. Texas, 12.5 years with a weapon on a 15 because you got to do 85%, right? So 12.5 years, no good time, nothing
just until the knife.
Just for the knife in an aggravated armed robbery case, right? And I did. They had me dead bang on camera. I took real property, even though it was a $3 burger or whatever, and a Coke. And I sat down and I took it with a weapon and I scared people. The case was open and closed. I was done. Maybe that's why they didn't come with a deal. I was on like 4 cameras, right? Now it was a news covered story. Everybody in jail called me the Hamburglar, Bill. It was the dumbest crime ever. That burger didn't even have cheese on it, bro. I was pissed. It wasn't worth no 15 years in prison. So I'm there. I call him. He tells me. And I remember sitting in the cell and I remember I said, okay, Lord, if you got me going to prison, now I'm a believer. I'm healed. I know God's real in my heart. And I was like, if you got me going to prison, I was like, I'll go up there with the intention of being a man of honor, integrity, and respect. And whenever this whole thing's over with, I promise I'll serve you to the best of my ability and I'll try to make the world a better place. And I went to bed and I was walking through the tunnel. There was 11 other guys and me shackled. That was very symbolic. There's 12 apostles, right? And we're walking. There's this leaky tunnel between Nueces County Court and the jail. So I'm walking from the jail. They were nice enough to give me brand new oranges. They only let you, shower and get a new one once a week over there, right? Mm-hmm. So I'm walking through and we're shackled. In the middle of the tunnel, in the middle of nowhere, it's this long tunnel. I see something up in the distance. We're on the right wall. We're all walking. Guards in front and back. I remember seeing something. I look over and I walk by this thing. It is the same exact wheelchair my dad had when he had spinal cancer. It's in the middle of this tunnel down there. It's like this cheap black. It said drive across the back of it. It gives me chills when I see him to this day. And I just had this feeling come over me, an overwhelming feeling that everything was going to be okay. And I'm thinking, I'm like, okay, I'm going to go to prison. I'll probably, I'll be okay. I'll be safe during my stay there, right?
Yeah.
And I'm not a gangster, man. I'm not a tough guy or none of that. I was scared going to Huntsville in Texas.
Yeah, I've heard about that place.
God knew I probably wouldn't have done too good. So he makes a way, right? So I'm traveling up there and I get up in the courtroom and there's Martin Scorsese. He's in his little gray tweed suit. And he's like, Mr. Durkin, he's like, get in this side room right here. And I'm like, all right. He's like, don't say anything. And we go in there. He goes, we beat the case. We beat the case.
What?
I remember saying this verbatim. I go, what do you mean we beat the case? I was like, I called you at 4:00 in the afternoon yesterday and you told me 15 years. He goes, I was at the DA's office after hours. He had his briefcase with my files in it because I was the early show at 8 a.m. and he was getting ready for court. He was on unrelated business at the DA's office. This is the night before trial, Bill.
And they dropped it all.
No, it's way better. We're far from over. So he's got the briefcase. The DA caseload switched by chance. So they rejected my insanity defense because of the drugs, and I got a new DA the night before trial. After the office is closed, he's there doing unrelated business. You know, lawyers work late and all that shit.
Yeah.
So he goes, I got this crazy guy in the morning. He's like, kid just went into McDonald's or whatever. He explained it, and the guy's like, yeah, we'll push it through. This new DA pushes through the insanity defense. Jeffrey Dahmer was too sane to get an NGRI, and drugs disqualify you. The odds are astronomical. And he goes, we're going to go up before the judge. It was Judge Sandra Watts. And he was like, we're going to go up before this judge. He goes, you don't say a word, but yes, ma'am, or no, your honor, whatever, right? And I went up. And she took the DA recommendation. She banged the gavel, and it was signed into law. And I beat that armed robbery case, the 3 aggravated assaults with a deadly weapon. I came out with absolutely no criminal record of any kind.
Yeah, but
here's
when you get a insanity defense,
uh-huh.
Do you have to be hospitalized or anything like that? Like, do you have to?
Well, buckle up, passengers, because we're about to go on a ride, and it's a wild one. We are jumping back in the Crown Vic, or actually it's a transport van this time. And we're headed to Vernon Supermax, mental institution for the criminally insane. See, Martin Scorsese was a top pay attorney. And this outcome is so rare, Bill, that not even Marty knew what was to come next. He goes, you're healed. He goes, you're not even crazy. He's like, you're going to go up to this hospital. He goes, you're going to be there for 30 days for evaluations, and you're going to come right home. I'm like, I can do this. I just did 10 months in county jail, like a very crappy county jail. Like, they turned our hot water off and stuff in February. It was terrible. People dying in there left and right. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, I'll just eat a couple Jell-O pudding pops. We'll take this show on the road, right? Whatever. You don't know what a state mental institution looks like till you get there, right? So
I've been there.
You've been to the state hospital?
I've been there. Yes, I have.
All right. So let me paint a picture for you in this place, because a lot of people never have this bird's eye view, because most people are so insane. Even when they get out, they're so crazy. They can't tell the tale, right? So it looks like we get up there. It's a 10-hour drive. I called it Mars. It's out in the middle of nowhere near Wichita Falls. It's in a town called Vernon, Texas. Gun turrets, razor wire. Looks like a prison from the outside, right? So we get inside. The first thing they do is a blood draw. I'm like terrified. I'm positive I have HIV. No pun intended. I'm positive I have hepatitis C. I'm like one in 3 drug users, I think, gets it their first year of IV use. And I was completely reckless, right? So they do the blood draw. Then I go on to the tier. Now the inside looks like the inside of a doctor's office. It's like the green leather chairs and like a TV. There's like 2 sides. It's all co-ed. So first,
yeah, there's women in there.
There's women in there. There's like people getting naked and running around. It's wild, right? So first 5 minutes, I saw this kid crush this other guy's nose, blood everywhere. They come out. They keep it in the fridge. I call them the rhino darts, right? So they keep them in the fridge. It's like Thorazine, Benadryl, and something else. It's like a cocktail, right? Thorazine, Benadryl, and some other drug. But like they come up and hit you right in the meat of your neck, and they'll put you out, dude. And you're out. They wheel you in a restraints chair, so you're strapped here, your legs. They wheel you into a padded room, and you're there for at least 5 hours, and you're just slumped, right? So And that was a maximum security restraints policy hospital. So it was like, you'd see these maniacs like starting to get agitated and get up, and they would remember the chair and they'd sit back down. I watched it all the time. So like it was really a calm place for the most part compared to other places, right? Because they actually enforced the stuff there. Day 2, I went up and they were like, Durkin, noon meds. And I walk up. They hand me this bucket of pills. It was like a Dixie cup full. I'm like, I don't even take noon meds. What is it? I go, I take nighttime meds. I thought it was like vitamins or something. She's like, listen, you take those. You got to take those. And if you don't, they'll shoot you up with the drugs if you don't take the pills. So I take it. I go back to my bed. And you remember The Walking Dead? Do you remember that zombie that was like crawling on the ground? I had buckets of drool coming out of my mouth. That's a side effect of some of those meds, right? And I'm crawling up there. My heart's beating out of my chest. They gave me the wrong person's meds.